Welcome back. Here we are again. We got a Hughes Weekly. So, Hugh, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a good day, good Tuesday. Yeah, not shouldn't be a super long episode. Just going to touch on some things that has happened in the league, some injury news, a couple new contracts, and the standings currently in the East and West. I want to discuss very quickly. So, first person I'm going to talk about is James Harden. He missed 2 games due to hamstring tightness. He was finally able to come back and start and play last night, but he only got in 4 minutes playing before he re-aggravated it. So he had to leave the game and he missed the rest of the game. He got an MRI today, and it revealed that he has a right hamstring strain. So he's actually going to miss a little bit of time. He's going to be reevaluated in 10 days, I guess. So at least expect him out 10 days, probably, up into 2 weeks, if I had to guess. Especially with this next news. The next person I want to touch on is Kevin Durant. Um, like I said, Brooklyn played last night, and Kevin Durant was actually doubtful for that game. He ended up being out and not playing, but I mean, it's big news that he was actually doubtful. So I mean, he actually had a chance. The expectation is for him to come back this week at some point. They have 2 more games this week. They play Wednesday and then again on Saturday. So the expectation is for him to come back. If I had to guess, probably be Saturday. But yeah, so he's expected back this week, which is big for Brooklyn, especially with the news about James Harden. Um, Another guy I want to touch on, Malik Beasley. Um, he injured his hamstring, and it looks to be pretty serious. He's out 4 to 6 weeks at least, and he's being reevaluated in 3 weeks. So a big blow to Minnesota. I mean, not like they had a lot to play for anyways, but that sucks with him being suspended for a little bit and finally coming back, and shortly after coming back, this happening. So yeah, sad to see it, but that's all the injury news I had. A couple new contracts. DeMarcus Cousins signed a 10-day contract with the Clippers. I think that's big. We've talked about them here about how the Clippers they lack size. They lack a true big man. Serge Ibaka ain't cutting it. So I think it's huge with DeMarcus Cousins going there. I think it's a good fit. I think he could help that team out a lot. And then the other 10-day contract I wanted to discuss was Isaiah Thomas. He signed a 10-day contract with the Pelicans. Um, yeah, and I saw he actually played tonight, and he actually scored tonight. So I think it had been I don't remember how long it had been since they said he last scored, but it's been a while. So yeah, shout out IT. I know the Pelicans are extremely hit hard by injury currently, so I'm sure it's he'll come in and get a lot of playing time off the bat and trying to help that team. But yeah, anything you want to add to any of those things, D?
Yeah, just touching up on what you said about IT. Yeah, he's coming back from that hip surgery. He said he was 102% better. So we'll yet to see that. The Lakers, they did sign, I think it's Ben McLemore, I think it's how you say his name. He was waived by the Houston Rockets over the weekend. They picked him up, and then I believe the Miami Heat picked up Denman that was waived or dropped from the Atlanta Hawks here recently as well. And yeah, just what you said about Brooklyn, they are playing without their MVPs right now. Their two MVPs that's on the roster. Kyrie's carrying the load. We'll see what happens with that. And if Kevin Durant's on his return, once again, I can't stress this enough. We've yet to see a lot of playing time with the big three on the court at the same time. So even if KD comes back, if Harden still is to miss time coming up in the future, then we're just going to see another duo that's on the squad. And yeah, they're likely to win games with just those two, but no team chemistry is going to be gained from that experience there, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it's not meant to be at this point, man. It's like they all three played together a little bit, and then KD went down, and then Kyrie missed some time. Yeah, and then as soon as KD, the week actually that KD's supposed to come back, Harden goes down. So it ain't loud enough for them right now. Hopefully they get all that sorted out by playoff time.
Yeah, I
But
tweeted out today on Twitter that don't be surprised if the Brooklyn Nets don't make it out of the second round. With Philly, they just won tonight's game against Boston, so that put them tied back in first in the East. So in all seriousness, this is real. It gets real quick if the Philly Philadelphia 76ers take over the number 1 seed and lock it in, and Brooklyn's the number 2 seed, and you potentially have to face the Bucks. When you talk about big on big, is where basically where the Nets might have the weakest area in their game. Well, actually, I would think their bench is the weakest area of their game, followed by big man. They're good on guards, but if it only takes one injury or 2 injuries for them not to be able to have sustainability and or chemistry issues. So if that's the case, then being a number 2 seed, you never know, man. It's just a bold prediction, but I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you actually rolled into what I wanted to discuss next. I just want to go over the standings. Currently, there's some, I think, at least the Warriors Bucks game going on right now. I think there might be another game or two going on, so these might change slightly by the end of the night. But yeah, so in the East, right? So Brooklyn was actually first yesterday, but with the Sixers winning today, they actually hold a tiebreaker over Brooklyn. So technically, right now, Philadelphia is first, and Brooklyn is second. They have the same record, but Philly just has that tiebreaker over them. Third, you have the Milwaukee Bucks, 2 games back, and then it's a huge drop at fourth. At fourth, you have Atlanta, who is 8 games back. So there's a 6-game difference from third and fourth. So I think those top 3 seeds, might move around a little bit, but I think they're pretty set in stone, all 3 of them. At 5, you have Miami Heat. They are 8.5 games back, so only a half a game back from Atlanta at 4. Then at 6, you have Charlotte. They're 9 games back, so just a half a game back from Miami. And then at 7, you have the Knicks, and at 8, you have the Celtics. They're both 10 games back from the lead, so both 1 game off from Charlotte. So you could see some movement there. But yeah, and then out west, you have Utah still playing strong, still number 1. At second, you still have Phoenix, 2.5 games back. Third, you have the Clippers, who are 5.5 games back. So I mean, Phoenix has a little wiggle room there at the second spot. Fourth, you have the Nuggets at 6.5 games back. So they're just 1 game out from third. So if the Clippers slip a little bit, Denver could easily take that spot. At 5, you have the Lakers, who are starting to slide down a little bit slowly. Yeah, I think they were third. They're down to 5th now with 7 games back. And then right behind them at 6, the Portland Trailblazers. They are at 7.5 games back, so they're only a half a game behind the Lakers now. So I mean, the Lakers could fall even more the next time those teams play. At 7, you have the Dallas Mavericks at 9.5 games back, and then at 8, you have the Memphis Grizzlies at 12.5 games back.
Yeah, the biggest thing that jumps out, obviously, the Lakers, because that's the team you keep an eye on, and they probably will fall down some more. And then also, conversely, if you look at the Denver Nuggets, they're probably going to climb into that 3rd seed, like what you were mentioning there, Hugh. And then on the East, just you said the Celtics are in 8th. I'm not sure if you have any information on who's in 9th, but yeah, that game today with the Sixers, they lost that game. I think at one point they were down at least by 21 when I was watching it. It could have gotten bigger. I'm not completely sure. So the game, ended where it looked like it was closer than a closer game that, based off the score indication than it actually was. I mean, they did try to make a run there with their bench a little bit by putting in some of the younger guys, but basically at that point the game was just kind of, taking a toll for the worse for the Celtics there. And Philly, yeah, with Embiid coming back, that's big news. If we were going to do this the other day, I was going to definitely mention Embiid coming back. I think one thing we didn't touch on, it's kind of old news, but it's just because it's over the weekend and it's a few days passive. But you had mentioned yesterday Drew Holiday signing that 4-year extension contract. That's just big for the Bucks, and that keeps that team intact with what they got as their core players. And if anybody's interested in coming over and joining them in the off season, uh, they know what they're working with. They know the personnel that they got, and it's going to be interesting to see what they end up with this season as far as their record and how far they make it in the playoffs and how big of a difference Drew Holiday makes for this team.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I had that written down when we talked about doing it yesterday, but with today, how we discussed that, that last night. I didn't include that in, but yeah. Shout out Drew Holiday and Milwaukee there. But yeah, to touch on what you said, at ninth in the East would be the Indiana Pacers, and they are 2 games back. Well, they're 12 games back from first, but they're 2 games behind the Knicks and Celtics. So I mean, not insurmountable there. I mean, could easily be done, especially if the Knicks continue to slide. And Indiana plays good ball. I think they lost tonight. I think I saw they played and they lost. I believe. Don't I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they lost. I can't remember who they played. But
Well, it's going to
yeah,
be tough for the Celtics if they stay down that low, because even if they're in 7th or 8th, you're talking about the play-in part of the season coming in the hand there right before the actual playoffs. So they got to get their stuff together, because if a team comes out hungrier and thirstier, then they could definitely upset the Celtics, and then they could be booted out the playoffs altogether.
yeah, definitely. That'd be a shame, wouldn't it? Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I mean, and that team not even make the playoffs. That would be a shame. One thing too with the Celtics, another blow. I saw. I forgot to. I put it down for my Hew Weekly, but yeah, Evan Fournier is in COVID protocols. So at least they're saying at least a week, probably more. So I mean, that's a big blow. I think the last couple games, he's been actually playing decent for Boston. So yeah, it's a blow. The one guy they traded for at the deadline. Yeah, you don't have him for the foreseeable future. So yeah, another blow to Boston there.
Yeah, in my opinion, at that point,
Yeah, that about.
if you lose and get out of the playoffs there, if you're the Celtics, it's not a personnel problem as far as the players on the court. I think it's more higher up in management. And I'm pointing the finger at Danny Ainge as far as what he brought in versus what I think he could have brought in to make a bigger impact for the team and get them in a better situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. We've talked about numerous times how we both feel they botched the trade deadline and what should have been done to help that team. So yeah, I mean, I think that would definitely have to fall on their front office there. The players can't do anything about that. They're going out there and doing what they can, but without the right pieces in place, their hands are kind of tied.
In relation to
But yeah,
that, just a
yeah,
quick
that about
update.
wraps.
I think that, they mentioned that Stephen A had said something about Brad Stevens' job could be on the line.
I hadn't heard that. That's interesting though.
It's just an opinion,
Good coach.
nothing that obviously is in the contract that if you don't make the playoffs right now, we're going to fire you, but something to keep the eye on as far as coming up, how they're going to end the regular season, or if they get booted out and they don't make the playoffs for sure, then he might not be the Celtics head coach next year.
Yeah, yeah. I ain't trying to make this all about Boston, but I mean, I think that going into the season, they were one of the favorites in the East. So I mean, it's just surprising to see. We talked about their personnel and how we don't think they have all the right pieces, but I mean, still, I mean, they were expected, with all the talent that they have to at least be top four, probably something like that. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to see them down so low, but I mean, yeah, maybe they do need a shake up, new front office, new coach. I don't know. I don't know what they need. They need a big man is what they need. They botched that. So, but yeah, that's about everything I got for my Hughes Weekly here.
Wrap it up, Hugh. You got any an outro?
I got an outro.
Do you have
No,
one?
not
If
really.
not,
You're the one with the outros. I've never done one. I've never even thought about it, to be honest with you.
well, we'll work on that.
I
And
do
if you
like
don't,
you do like the three fingers, peace and
that's
love.
that's my outro, bro. That's peace
That's what I said.
and love together. So,
Oh,
you
peace
know,
and love.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's what that means.
Okay.
I mean, it's
We-
obviously a three as well. I think Westbrook started doing this, by the way. So I was mimicking that years ago when he would shoot threes, but peace and love is why I do it
yeah,
on here. So yeah, well,
I
we'll
didn't
work
know
on
that.
that. Leave in the comments if y'all want him to, if y'all got any suggestions as far as his outro or what you might want to see him do or say. That'd be interesting. That'd be fun to see. I think you definitely should have one, not just for the Hugh Weekly, but when we do the other videos and podcasts for sure. But yeah, if y'all like the
Yeah, I
videos,
work on
give
one.
us a thumbs up and a like and subscribe if you haven't. And we'll continue to put out content. You can check out our other videos and definitely look for us on your wherever you could find some of your podcasts on Spotify, Anchor.fm, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts. We're on there for the audio only. The Hugh Weekly is an exclusive here to our YouTube channel, I believe. But we do put our PPF videos or audio only versions for that and the podcast on those podcast channels. So once again, thank y'all for kicking in the second half. This has been a Kish YZ Hew Weekly. Say bye to the people, Hew.
And thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Peace and love.